Welcome to People Love Process. It's been a while since I've done a impromptu over-the-shoulder recording, so that's what I'm going to do right now. This project is a project I'm currently working on, and I wanted to take one of the sketches and create content with it by building it out, and I'm just going to record that. The only thing I'm changing is the name because I want to keep the client incognito. This was based off of their request. So I'm going to build out, the theme of this is going to be a hawk. I've done a lot of hawks over the years. This one in front of you is one I did quite a few years ago. It was part of initially a school mascot. I believe it was in Arizona. This isn't the one we're creating today. This is just an example of a hawk. So the first thing I tend to do is I look at reference. I want to see what a hawk looks like. And hawks are really cool. I've seen artwork out there where they call it a hawk, but its head isn't shaped like this. They almost have a falcon type of head shape. Their beaks are a lot shorter than like an eagle, for example. And their feathers, they don't have a lot of flair to them. It's pretty smooth. And so these are all things I pay attention to kind of derive the essence of what a falcon is, because I'm going to do what I call deductive drawing. So I take reference. So here's a reference of one of the hawk images I saw that I really liked. And I kind of like the attitude, and I always think a bird, especially a hawk, they tend to look kind of like I'm gonna beat the crap out of you type scowl with their eyes, and I kind of like that. Now I have to play that down a little bit because of the context of this project, but they requested a hawk, and that's what hawks look like, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But I will create a drawing reference like this where I'll drop it into Illustrator. I'll drop some, in this case, I want the nesting shape to be a circle. So I just dropped some elliptical shapes in there, and I'm going to do some deductive drawing. On top of that, I have a nice light box that I use to do that. And this just shows my drawing that I worked out based off of the reference image. Now, I always like to set this aside and come back to it later and look at it. In this case, it had been about a day. And then I came back to it. I'm looking at it going, I'm not so sure about this front part here. I have a little flare up with a feather. But actually, if you look at the hawk, it's pretty smooth. So I figured I need to change that. So I did. I changed it from what I had to this because I needed that little kind of bump in there. That's a key characteristic. So I even art direct my own drawings at times when needed. So this is what we're going to work with. And of course, I always scan these in with my flatbed scanners. So I'm going to take this and we're just going to go to transparency. I'll set it to 20%, lock the layer. And we're going to start building this out. Now, I already obviously had the elliptical shapes out there because I needed to draw within that context. So we're going to go ahead and start creating this art. And what I tend to do is try to think, where's the best place to start on this? And I think the place I want to start is the eye. I always think that's kind of a good area to start with. So the easiest shapes are obviously the easiest to build. So we're going to do some elliptical shapes here. Something like that. Let's go to our graphic styles. I'll probably build, not sure what size this is, 0.5 maybe. Yep. So we'll just build that size. And you don't have to draw perfectly if you're building in shapes. That's the most important thing to remember. I always like birds. Birds are a fun topic to work with. I've never had a pet bird. My daughters had parakeets, and then they were gone one time. They put them out on the porch in their cage, and I didn't know that the wind blew it over and it killed the parakeets. They got all mad at me. So that was unfortunate. Okay. Uh, a lot of this I can build with shapes, but I think here we'll go into this curve, pull it out where it comes to a point, gets a point. And I like using Path Scribe instead of the anchor point tool, which is this one up here. So if you need to do this with the native tool, you don't have plugins, just grab that. I just love the fact that they worked in what are called ghost handles. Okay, that looks good. I'll switch to another plugin tool called Arc by Points tool. One of my favorite tools to build with because I can do that. I don't have to touch Bezier curves, is what I'm trying to say. Go like that. Then you can just continue over here. This doesn't matter. It'll be consumed. And we'll put that little wedge. Then we'll finish it out like that. That looks fine. I'm going to go ahead and clone this. Move this over. Like that. I'm just second guessing myself here. Yeah, that'll work. And then that's the hardest part about doing these videos like this is because there's a lot of times I'll just sit there and stare at something until I figure out, or I can't figure it out, and I'll set it aside and look at it the next day. Okay, like that. I think I'm going to make a copy of this. We'll make this one, bring it to the front. And I'll use Pathfinder. Let's just move Pathfinder out here. Minus front. Select this. Like that. Oops. I want to take this shape first. And select that shape. Intersect it. Then unite it with that one. Think. And take this like that. Take this, unite it with that, and gonna make a little highlight shape. But I'm not gonna put it there. I think I'm gonna put it right about there. I might change that later. Now this part, since this part is going to sit on top of this initial elliptical shape, so I can just lop off this extra part I don't need. Like that. Select these shapes, paste behind so it's in the right hierarchy. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. I think that'll work. Of course, it's only when I start coloring it and figuring out if I even like the way it's looking. Okay. So here's why I love this tool. I can go like this, and I'll go up here somewhere. I don't know, somewhere. I'm not going to worry about the end. I'll go like that. So it's not a perfect straight line. You can see these subtle Bezier curves out of it. That's why I do that. And then I'm kind of hypersensitive, or I pay attention to shape and form so much that I look at something like this and I go, okay, that wouldn't be, that fits the form I want. And I'll work out actually a shape like this. Then I'll go and use the the dynamic corners tool by Astute Graphics, because you can start with a curve And I'll inset this to get the other part. Let's go ahead and just adjust the weight here. And just so we have something to work with, I'll go ahead and do something like this. This isn't going to be pretty. It doesn't need to be. Like that. Then I'll go here, add an extra anchor, snap that here. I'll drag that past, unite it. Then we can take this artifact, get rid of it, select these, go like that. And now this is where I'll go to. Now you can use the corner widget here if you want to. So we'll go to the direct selection tool, select that, and you can adjust this with the corner widget. That'd be fine. I just didn't want it going in a curve into a very straight line. It just doesn't look as nice. So something like that, I think that's fine. Let's see. I think what I'm going to do, so I'm going to start here with an oval for this outside shape. Like that. Clone it, bring it in here. Just reduce it. This is where I follow my drawing, but if I feel it could be improved upon, I'm not so attached to my drawing. Actually, I think I know what I need to do. I need to figure out my tolerance here because I want this thickness to be the same going into this, so I shouldn't do that from the outside. So I don't have all the information yet, so I'm going to go ahead and create the beak shape. Like that. Now, let me figure out what would be a good tolerance for this. That's 11. Let's just see what 11 looks like. I always like using whole numbers. It's my obsessive compulsive side of me. Okay, that's good. It's the same kind of gap width here and here. Actually, I think I want that more. I want these interior ones to be a little thinner, but where it's outside here, I want it to be thicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 13. Or maybe even more. Let's see how it compares to this one. Okay, see that's almost 15. Okay, I think I'll do 15. Okay, so now I'll take this shape. By the way, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to go ahead and create the perimeter. Kind of like this. Take it down to this one. Oh, I just realized something I need to pay attention to. Let's copy this. I really want this to be very, very precisely stylized, not super freeform at all. Just because it gives a nice overall aesthetic that works great for a brand mark. Okay, that looks better. Even though my drawing was different, doesn't matter. Okay, this one, this is going to be tricky because I want this curve to flow into this curve of the nesting shape. So we'll just see what it does if I Okay, that's not bad. I think I can show you a plugin that will help us get there. So if I just move this up, I'm going to go to a plugin here called Snap to Collision. It's by Astute Graphics. And what this does, I don't use this every day, but like this, it's nice. If I select this tool, if I double click into it, you can say you add a point to the paths at the collision. Well, we'll do that. I'll just show you what that does. I'll check that and I'll click OK. So what this does with this tool, you can see where these nodes come up. That's where it's colliding with another object's edge. If I, with the tool selected up here, take this and I slide it down, it's going to hit. Now it's not acting the way I thought it would. Okay. See, it's trying to collide with other things. So I'm just going to move these out of place so it doesn't try to do that. And then we'll reselect the tool and I'll slide it down. I just want it to collide with this. There you go. So now that it's collided, I'll let go. Let's do that again. I'm going to undo that. That's interesting. It's creating two anchors. I'll just leave it and deal. That's an easy fix anyway. I'll just bring this over because I want my tolerance to be retained up here. Okay. So we'll address that once the time comes. Right now it's not so important. That's fine. Let's finish out just what we need to create the perimeter of the bird. So I'll add to this. Again, this doesn't have to be pretty because it's all going to be consumed. Now we'll select the top. We'll select this part. I'm not worrying about this bump. That'll be easy to add after the fact. With these three shapes, we'll go ahead and go unite like that. So we have most of the perimeter shape, and I did that because this would be easy just to, I'm not sure if, will I need this for something else? I'm going to keep a copy. So I'll make a copy of this. We'll bring it to the front. I'll fill it so you can see it's on top. I'll select this and I'll go minus front. There we go. Actually, that is ending in a nice spot. That does look good, I think. I'm not sure about this, so I'll just move this to my temp layer like that. So I think that's going to work. And the tolerance for that was, actually, I'll use this over here. Get rid of this anchor. So this is 11. If I select, no, 15. Oh, 11 was the interior. That's right. Let's go ahead and do that just so I don't forget it. There we go. Okay. Knowing this was 15, I'll try some first because I'm not distinctly making a donut shape. So I think what I'll do is I'll clone this. Now I know it's 15, but I want it to get smaller as it comes inside. Notice how it's trying to snap. Just hit Command U and it will just ignore it so you can finesse it more. Now I'll just move this down. I just want to make sure it looks, if I leave it here, this distance will be the black distance from this inside edge to this, and I think that doesn't look good. Oop, 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 oop. Ah, no. Wrong way. Redo scale. There we go. And let's do redo. Ah, geez, did it the wrong way. Redo scale. Okay, redo scale. There we go. Okay, so I think what I want to do, maybe I'm just going to distort it. I think that'll work. Let me distort this just a little bit. It's coming down a little too far. Okay. Okay, yes, I nitpick over this. Okay. I'll just try that. I'm not sure it's going to work, but we'll find out after the fact. Okay. So next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and inset this. So we'll go to offset. Inset, I call it inset because we want it to go negative, not positive on the outside. Offset, off, in. That's kind of the way I'm thinking. So I'll go -15. You can preview it. I think that looks good. Click OK just so I can track what I'm doing. I'll do that blue. Okay. So now all we have to do is create the other elements here. So I'm going to select this, and just because I'm not sure I'm going to like it, so I'm going to select these elements. And this, what I do as I'm working, is I'll select everything, I'll group it, then I'll just move it to my X layer. We'll select this, and I'll go unite, and then this will be part of the blue. So this will just unite with that. Actually, now that I see it, I don't want, I need to save a copy of this. Then unite these. So I still have a copy because I want this curve to follow that line all the way down till it hits this and goes over. Okay. So kind of a lot of working parts here. Okay, so next thing I want to do, let's do this. I know I'm going to be using this tolerance. This is 11. So let me take this. Oops, turn on Smart Guides again so it snaps. That. We'll go over here. Okay, then we'll take this, snap it here. This we're going to continue over. My drawing was a little larger, but that's okay. I want to retain that kind of the same spacing and shape size. So we're going to take these, unite them. And this one, I know this just looks crazy, but it's the method of my madness, I guess. Select this, minus front. I just need to get this angle, but this shape is going to be combined with this shape now, like this. We'll go ahead and color this something else like that, just so we can see it, because we're going to use this to eat away elements here. The part I'm not sure about, and I might try it without it first, and then if I feel I need it, I'll go back in and add this shape. The more I'm looking at it, the more I'm going, I'm not sure I should do that. So think in shape. So if I snap here, because I want this line to go straight across, even though my drawing looks higher, it is. I'll go like this. And then you can use the corner widget on something like this. So this isn't the angle I add in here, but I think that's fine. I think it's going to look good. So we'll keep it. And then I'm going to go back to that arc tool here. And then here to create those arcs. I'll just close out this path because we're going to be fusing these two shapes together anyway, like that. And then these will go opposite side because these are going to be used to edit the blue shape because we don't need this blue down here. This will all be black when it's all said and done. Okay, now I think that looks good. I'm going to kind of guesstimate. I don't know why my camera keeps flickering. Okay, I think it needs to be a little smaller. Now, this isn't a perfect 90-degree corner round, so I'll just select this and I'll slide it this way, and then I'll round it, and then you get that kind of not so perfect 45-degree round on the corner. It's to indicate feathers, obviously. We'll go ahead and clone this. Focus on this corner down here, and then I'll scale it where I think it looks pretty good, something like that. So we'll add this to it like that. And okay. So all I did there, let's go ahead and we'll fill this with like a light blue. I just created this shape so I could select this shape and just get that exact profile I need. Now this shape will then select, by the way, just to be safe, I'm going to go again, make a copy of this, move this to my X layer, because if I don't like it, I want to be able to go back to the originals. Select this and go minus front. So all the perimeter aspect is almost all done except this one here. We'll fill, actually let's fill it with a green like this and bring it to the front. So it's above this shape now. And just to make sure it's going to do it cleanly and not add an extra anchor point, I'll pull that past that edge like this. And then we'll just go minus front like that. That looks pretty good. You know, we have these here where I could go in and select this if I wanted to clean it up and go smart remove. And that works better than Illustrator's smart remove, which can change the path slightly. So if Astute can do something precise, you'd think Adobe engineers could, but surprisingly not. We're going to take this anchor, and I don't want this again to be an exact, well, yeah, maybe I do. Never mind. We'll take this. I'm going to use the corner widget because I prefer doing this kind of stuff like that. That looks good. Then I'll come in here and I think something like that, so it just sweeps right up. Oh, see, this is why I save shapes. I forgot about this wedge that cuts in here. And if I wouldn't save shapes, I go, oh, now I have to go all the way back and try to figure, kind of eyeball it. Well, I don't have to do that. So I didn't plan on doing this. So I'll just go back to my original shapes here. I'll copy them, back out, turn on my sketch again, the build layer, and paste in place. Boom, there I have it. So that it's like Time Machine on a Mac. That has saved my bacon so many times it's not even funny. Because out of sight, out of mind for me, that's just that frustrates me at times too. That it's like my brain just at times just can't recall stuff. I'm too busy focused on something. So we'll take this piece now. I'll select this, and by the way, this is on top. We'll select this and we'll just go minus front. And now we have that nice little wedge in there. So that's why I get in the habit of saving shapes to my X layer. Oh, I forgot one to round. This one down here on the beak. Like that. So I think that's looking really sharp. Let's do this one. This one's easy. This one is just elliptical shape. Right about there. I guess this is their nostril, or part of their nose, or olfactory, or whatever they call it. Like that. And then we'll just take classic shape building, an oval, and we'll get it about the angle I have it in my sketch. By the way, I think I have a preference turned on in Smart Guides. Nope, I thought I had alignment guides on, but it's just Smart Guides in general that's kind of wanting to snap. That's why I toggle it on and off as I work. It can get in the way. Like that. There we go. I think this is... I'm going to try it this way. I'm not going to worry about this, but it's at this point. Oh, let's do one more thing. This is going to be encompassed within the host shape. So I'm just going to trim off this part. We don't need that part there, like this. I'm just going to go ahead and select all this. I'm going to clone it, Command C, Command F, group it, and move it to my X layer. Now I can start composing it. This is going to be black. This will be the furthest thing behind all the other shapes. This shape, let's go ahead and fill it with blue, because it's just going to take into account this background inside shape minus out. So all of this is going to be black in here. So all we're going to see is the background color. So let's go ahead. We can start creating the black and white art. We'll go ahead and color this black. Get rid of that. Just temporary, we'll color this white. We'll color this white. Select that shape, this shape, send it back. I have that set up as F4. If you don't, you'd have to go to Object, Arrange, Send it back. It's just faster. Keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts are awesome. Now, I would eventually build this clean, but I think for the comp, this is going to be good enough doing it this way. I'll go ahead and do that. Do that. This one, let's just pick a gray color like that. And this one will be white. This will just punch through that shape. Select this, send it back again. And turn that off. Okay, let's explore color. Some of the colors I used on their directions were a dark blue like this. Oops, I don't want on that one, just to fill. Dark blue. And then I add a lighter blue to kind of represent the sky. And then a lot of these hawks have really cool kind of golden yellow eyes like that. I think that looks pretty cool, actually. Now, I wanted to have a level of detail on this. So actually, well, this is the build layer. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate that layer. And I'll just call this one Subtle Rounds, because that's what I'm going to do now. All of this is coming to a dagger sharp point, especially this inset cut. And so this is where I don't like using the corner widget, because you have to select the anchor. And if you want the tolerance to be the same on everything, then you have to select everything. And it's hard to see, is that really what I want? The way they implemented that tool, it gets in the way at times. Sometimes I go to select an anchor and it rounds something. So you have to be really zoomed in. So I like the corner widget because I can just select the corner widget. It knows I'm over an anchor that's a corner. And then I can just adjust it and maybe something right about there. So I think that looks more elegant. So I can just apply that same round to all these other corners that I think would look good having that same tolerance. And all I have to do is hover over it and click on those. I'll do it here and even on the beak. And I'll put a little round here like that. I think that looks good. I think I'll do some more rounding on this. Not a lot. It doesn't need a ton. It's just I don't like stuff being like dagger sharp. So I'll go back later if I need the same round, and I'll just click on it. Click on this, and that means it copies it. Then I can go apply it to a different corner down here and down here. Trying to do it all at the same time can just like, I just don't like working that way. And then even on these inside parts, the white isn't the problem. It's the dark looking so sharp. So I'll go in on these and I'll even round those. Even up here on the eye like this. And I don't want this a perfect corner, so I'll add a subtle round. Actually, let's undo that. I'll just make it the same size as the one in the beak. That looks good. And then I think all I'm going to do is take this same size and apply it to the nostril area. I might need to zoom in on that one. I think we got an extra anchor in there. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you see we have this one. Now in Illustrator, I could select this anchor. They do have smart remove of anchor points in Illustrator now, but again, they never really announced it. They just put it in, and it's not intuitive, in my opinion, at all. You have to select it. Then you have to go to the minus anchor point tool. Not this one up here in the control panel. Won't work with that. Why? I don't know. Ask them. Go to this one. Click on it. Hold the shift key down. Click it, and notice it doesn't do it smartly. It gets about a C- average. It changed the curve. So let me undo this. Just pay attention to the angle of the curve on the screen. I'm going to undo it. Command Z. Watch this curve. See how it changed? So is it smart? No. Let's compare it to Astute Graphics. I'm going to select this, and on the Astute Graphics, I just go to the Smart Remove button, which is right here on the Path Scribe. Let's see if it moves the art. Sometimes the math is such that it's really hard to be coded. We'll click it. See what I mean? If Astute can do the math, why can't Adobe? That's the part that frustrates me the most. It's not that they don't try to add features, they do, but because they don't use their software, it's not added in a very intuitive way. or it's just half-baked, like the intertwine or the repeat grid. Doesn't actually create a pattern, a reusable pattern asset. It just mocks it up and puts in all these, the mirror tool, another one, another half-baked feature compared to Astute, looks like Fisher-Price. So there you go. There's my 2 cents on Adobe development. Oop, I don't want it that big. I want it this big. Like that. There we go. Let's go ahead and deselect. And that looks good. So is that huge? No. Could you have left it square or like sharp? Yeah. But I think it gives more humanity overall to the artwork. I think there's a couple areas I want to do, especially up here. We'll go here, and I'm just going to select that, and I'm going to put a little round on there. I think that looks better, and I think I'm going to put a little round here, like that. I think these are fine. Kind of goes with the beak aspect. Okay, so what's the next thing I want to do? Well, I want to focus on the shading. Now, I cheated a little bit. I'm building this right now. This is the only, actually, that's a good reminder. Let me save it, because I've had times where I get to the point I go, I like this, and I forgot to save it, and then Illustrator crashes, like, what? You know, then that's when I start talking like a sailor. So I kind of cheated. I took my initial pencil sketch and I filled it in Photoshop, and then I printed it out and I drew on it, even though I wasn't sure if I'd keep all the details. So it has details that I'm not using, like the feather under his beak. The more I look at it, I don't think that was the right way to handle that. But you can see I've drawn out, and I basically want to use this kind of shading in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and lock that layer. And then on a layer above it, you know, I always love to have this medium blue. That's why almost everything I do uses that layer color. Actually, let's make sure what percentage. It's probably around, oh, it's just multiply. Let's adjust this to like 40. There, I want to see it, but I want to see my art more importantly. So on this layer here, we'll just use the same methodology we used before. So if I zoom in on this, all we're going to do is, I think the easiest way to do this is I'll copy this, and I'm going to paste it here, go to graphic styles, like that. And what was the inside width? 11, I think it was. So let's go path. We'll go offset, and I'm going to go 11. That looks pretty good, like that. I'm just looking at the top here. That's all I'm paying attention to. Notice how when it gets to the equivalent from this anchor to this, instead of following that curve, which would sweep up a little bit, it just goes, eh. Again, this is something, it doesn't have to be this way, and they could fix it, but because they don't create with Adobe software, they don't know that's something that needs to be fixed. And I've tried to point out detail like this, and they're just like deer in the headlights. They just don't get it. So let's go to another Adobe plugin, or Adobe, I wish, Astute Graphics plugin called Extend Path. What Extend Path does, it says, okay, you want to extend this path from this side. Well, let's look at the geometry you have going up until it hits the end. Oh, okay, we can continue that. And so it will just continue that geometry like that. That's all I wanted. Now, I think that's fine, but that doesn't even give me the aesthetic I want. So math doesn't always have to be good math. I guess you can say it that way, because I'll go ahead and zoom in on this, because I want this to flare up a little bit, because I just think it looks better like that. But that's how I would do it, is I'd have to go in, you have to finesse it. Now this one we don't need, so I'd smart remove that like that. We technically wouldn't even need this. I could smart remove that as well. So that's why the smart remove for Astute just works really, really well. I might even adjust this ever so slightly. That looks a little more elegant. And then on this one, I'll go up here, I'll go here, and I'll go like that. We'll go ahead and close this. We'll eventually fix that once we get to it. I'll go up here. This is a curve. Now that I'm thinking, I'm going to try something first. That's 17. Our tolerance was 15. I think I'll retain our tolerance like this. Then I'll create this one. I'll snap it there like that. Get rid of that. Now, here's a way we can easily make this curve. I can create a shape, circular shape like this. Let's go ahead and go to dynamic corners. I'll pull this out. Now I'm going to take this anchor and I'm going to snap it to the anchor that's right on this other curve. And so you can see it's coming up a little short, so I'll just scale it until I get it there. That's fine. This is okay. It doesn't have to snap to that. I was just starting there. I think I'll cut this here. Cut this one here. Get rid of that. I'll go here. That looks good. I'll close this path. And so now we have most of the detail or the perimeter of our detailing shown here. What I need to do is figure this part out down here. And so I'm going to use that same 11-point tolerance. So we'll go 11 wide like that. Go down here. Or at least it'll define that edge. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go like this. I just want to see if we can, see, I don't want to do all of them, just that one. That's okay. I don't want it to go into that top bottom. Now let's try this. I like that better. Okay. Let's go ahead and cut that one there. We'll cut that here. We'll go ahead and connect those, bring these all the way up here. We'll unite it to get rid of those little artifact overlaps we had. This is going to look, I think this is going to look good. I'm going to have to zoom in there. It's straight, so I'll just find that there, right there. Don't be afraid to zoom in. Okay. That looks good. We can get rid of this shape. We don't need it now. I do want to use the interior of the eye, so I'll clone it. Go like this. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this would be way easier if I just do it with a circle instead. So I'll just snap it to that, size it. Now we have the exact size circle. Then I'll take no, don't want to do that. Like that. Clone it. Bring it down. I think that'll work. Let's move this to the top there. It's easier to see. That's better. Bring this to the front. Select this, minus front. Now I'm just going to take this, lop this part off. Take these two anchors, round it. That creates a nice little rim lighting on the bottom edge there. And all we have to do now is we can turn off our shading. We're done with that. We can take this shape and I will actually, let's do something first. Let's go in here. I'm going to make this really tiny just so I can see the detail better. I'll go in here and I think I want to add that same rounding detail to these elements. So we'll take this one and I'm going to add it there. I think that one, well, maybe put a little round. We'll match that down here. This can get a little bigger since it's going towards the dark area. This one I think we'll just leave as is. That's fine. Okay. Now with that, I can select this interior white. I can go and clone it, Command-C, Command-F. By the way, if you have the contextual menu, I forget what they even call it, the contextual taskbar, you can select a shape and hit duplicate if you don't have keyboard. I find keyboard shortcuts a lot faster. Anyway, by the way, before I do this, I'm going to make a copy of these basically shading and highlight shapes. And I'll group it. And guess what I'm going to do? That's right. I'm going to move it to my X layer. Select this copy of the shape, intersect. Wherever they overlap becomes a new shape. This is going to default to a group. Like, oh, no, it isn't. That's right, because we don't, never mind. We don't have a compound, so that's fine. Like that. What I'm going to do here is going to seem a little different. I'm going to color it blue, but because we're using global colors, and global colors are denoted by the white triangle in the bottom right-hand corner, we can go to the color palette, and on the color palette here, I'm going to set this to a tint of the blue, like that. Maybe even 15. Like that. Copy it. Select the eye shapes and we'll just paste it behind those. Oh, we have that one. Let's move that down here. We can turn off that layer now and paste behind. Boom. Select this last little rim highlight. Boom. And there we go. Let's put the Pathfinder back where it came from. And I think that looks pretty good for a brand mark. So let's go ahead and button this up. This is where I'll just group it like that. And just for safety reasons, I'll make a copy of that, move that to my X layer. Now I'm just going to copy this again. We'll turn it off because we want to lock it up with some typography. And this is the name that I changed. This isn't the name of the client. And we're just going to paste this on the same layer here. We'll adjust the size a bit. select this. And where's the line? There we go. We'll align it, center align it. I think this should be that color, and this could be that color. And I think that goes pretty good. Now, I've seen a lot of videos online about sizing. Well, if you take this and you break it into 3 parts and that, I never do that. I just optically align it. In this case, this is pretty symmetric, so mathematical alignment's going to work good. But I think this looks pretty cool together. But the more I'm looking at these colors, I used it in some of the other directions. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and duplicate this layer, and then we'll try a different color palette. I'll go to my swatches here. In the different color palette, we'll take everything that's the dark blue, like this, and we're going to make it a dark green. Oops, let's get the eye. Dark green. And this, because it's a tint, we'll just select the new color, and it'll apply that same tint, that new color to that tint. And then I don't want to introduce a third color. So if we make this and the background this same kind of golden color, I think that looks really cool. And then we can apply that to it. So this will be one of the better save it just in case it crashes. This will be one of the directions that I'll send off tomorrow, actually. And again, not this name. So if you look up Hawks Prairie, you're going to find it up by Lacey, where I grew up in Washington. It's an area up there. Of course, that shading I showed you, I use my flatbed scanner. So another good reason, if you want to see all my tools that I use on a daily basis, just visit my website, glitchkastudios.com. You'll find it under People Of. Here's the 2 other hawk directions. These are an additional to these other directions I created. But here's 2 other hawks I kind of created. It's actually the same hawk head. I just did one a full body and the other one with the mountain range in the background. So I like how those came out. So I'm going to read my outro because I don't memorize it. And that way I don't forget to say something. I love creating motifs like this hawk. Over the years, I've had a lot of people ask me why I still draw in analog. They still do. Instead of digital? Well, there are 3 reasons, and so I thought I'd share them here as we close this movie. Number 1, it's how I develop my own drawing skills. It's how I learn. So I just stick with what works for me. If I find new ways or better ways to do something, I obviously will do that. And I do digital drawing at times, but not a lot. I still prefer analog. I enjoy the tactile pencil and paper and long live mono and black wing pencils. I love them. They're awesome. So you might want to check that out. I don't really like drawing on glass on an iPad per se. It's okay. It still feels like I'm in a glove box handling uranium rods type of feeling. It feels detached, I guess is what I'm saying. So I still prefer drawing in analog, and you can't simply glance to another area. If I'm zoomed in on something on my iPad and I'm working on it and I go, well, I want to see how I handled the radius over here, I can't just glance and look at it. But if you're drawing in analog, it takes a split second to look over and keep going. Otherwise, you have to pinch zoom out, and I find that frustrating. So I don't like that aspect to it. And 3, I like at the end of the process, I have a physical asset, a physical sketch, and I have a whole flat file of those hundreds and hundreds of projects over the years. And that's kind of fun just to look through because there's many things I've found over the last few months because I had to reorganize some stuff that I'll actually be doing some content with because I totally forgot about it. So that'll be fun. But that said, remember, I scan each one of these in using the flatbed scanner I showed you. And if you, again, visit my website, glitchkastudios.com, there's a People of category, and that contains a list of all my physical tools and all my digital tools that I use to create everything you find on my website or on this channel. So I thought you might enjoy seeing that and accessing that. If you enjoy my channel content, please give my movie a simple like or comment on it or share it with a friend, or just subscribe to the channel. That always helps. We just passed 11,000. That's pretty cool. Really appreciate everybody who subscribed to my channel. And if you want to become a member, that's even better. I'm creating a member page, and that'll be up on my website eventually, and I'll share it with members only. That's where you'll get some special content. Until next time, thank you again for watching People of Process. I really do hope this content helps to improve your own creative process.